Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Super Mario Odyssey playthrough. We beat up Mollusk Lancier last time, and freed the Seaside Kingdom from his tyranny. And look, the sun has set, and created this beautiful sunset over the area. I know that I just repeated the word sun and set numerous times there, but doesn't really matter because it looks beautiful either way. One of the things that I think has been pointed out is that rather peculiarly the sun is seen setting in the north instead of the west, because obviously the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but clearly in the world of Mario the sun rises in the south and sets in the north. So, that's delightful. But yes, we're going to have a bit of fun in a pirate costume. And it's one of those moments where you just go, Yarr! It does really just make you want to go and tell a really awful joke that I may or may not have also said in the HFC run of why are pirates the way? Why are pirates pirates? Because they are. And yeah, it's really awful, and I'm pretty sure I completely butchered the telling of that. I did it much better in the Hellfire Comms playthrough, but there we go. You win some, you lose some. You see, it's when you're trying to repeat jokes, it just goes really badly. And, oh, I'm not going to like this. Yep. We've got these guys! I think they're Chinchos, aren't they? Well, I've shut down the Super Mario Wiki. Probably a stupid idea. But yeah, you need to open them in a certain order. Thankfully, if you get it wrong, the game does tell you the correct order, so you're not going to be guessing for the entire time. But it is a nice callback to one or two stars in Super Mario 64. And, oh yes! Now that we have saved the day, we can play a bit of volleyball. So, hit the volleyball back towards the instructor. In order to get the first power moon, you have to do it 30 times. This is basically the beach equivalent of jump rope, but it's definitely a lot easier than getting jump rope genius, because getting up to 30 is pretty easy in this, as it is with the Jump Rope Hero, because it's just a case of getting yourself in position, and if you don't look like you're going to be in the right position, throwing Cappy. But in order to get 100 hits on the beach volleyball, you're actually much better off to manipulate the ability of the Switch to do 2 players. Or at least for co-op to happen, because one player uses Mario and the other player uses Cappy. So you can detach Cappy from Mario, and oh, it's only 15. I thought it was more than that. Well, either way, that makes it a lot quicker. And we will go back and get whatever the Super Volleyball one is. But that'll be a little bit later, because actually no, I don't think we're going to do it at all. You see, it's because I'm thinking, I was just like, I can't bother to sit there for that length of time, because yeah, you split Cappy off from Mario, and then you just use Cappy to get it, because as long as the ball hits Cappy, you are going to be good. And that makes it quite nice and easy, if you ask me. So, yeah, if you want to get the 100 hits on that volleyball, go onto 2-player mode, use Cappy, because you can be much more precise in where you're placing Cappy, and also just need to think where I was in that sentence before I finish it. Yeah, you can be much more precise in where you're placing Cappy, and also Cappy on his own just moves a lot faster than Mario himself, so you really do just stand a much better chance of getting that moon if you do it that way. You can do it the other way, but it is going to take longer, and you are more likely to struggle in doing it, so depends how quickly do you want to get that moon. And we are going to be spending quite a bit of time hunting around Bubblaine for moons and purple coins, because it is just quite a big open area. One of the things that I have said, and I know I've said it in the HFC playthrough, I'm going to be saying this a few times now, it's because it's on the brain because I was doing it yesterday, is that Super Mario Odyssey has 3 sizes of kingdom. You have the mid-sized kingdoms, so that is like Bonneton, the Cascade Kingdom, that is the Lake Kingdom, and the Snow Kingdom. You then have the small kingdoms, so we're talking the Cloud Kingdom and the Nimbus Arena. That is a small kingdom. There is, I believe, only 2 others that I would classify as being small. Well, 3 others that I'd classify as being small kingdoms. And that there's a kind of only 1 or 2 important power moons there. And then you have the large kingdoms, so that would be the delight that is Tostadina, the Sand Kingdom, the Wooded Kingdom, Metro Kingdom with New Donk City, Bubblaine in the Sand Kingdom here, and then the next kingdom that we're going to go to is a Long Kingdom. The next kingdom close to that is also a large kingdom. So, basically, yeah, your best bet is just to deal with them as they come. But the Seaside Kingdom is pretty large, and because obviously a lot of it is under the sea. Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. It's very easy to miss things, so you're probably going to be going around in circles trying to find things, very much as I was in New Donk City, actually. But it's just this time we are on an underwater adventure rather than a skyscraper scamper. And also, this is a nasty moon that I'm about to try and get, because you basically need to master the quick swim if you want to stand a chance, because you can't use Cappy, so you can't capture a Cheep Cheep to get across quicker, and Mario just does not swim quick enough to get across there successfully without the quick swim. So learn how to do that if you want this moon. Because I did try numerous different ways of pulling this off, and yeah, it's the quick swim all the way. So it's just, I think it's ZL and Y, so it's the same one as doing a ground pound. It's just that it's a little bit... it's just a little bit finickier to pull off. And yeah, it's around this point in the game where I'm going, I can't remember where I've been. I can't remember what moons I've got, what purple coins I've got. This is not good. It doesn't help that for the most part. You can go into one bit of the sea in Bub Lane and like go through a shortcut like this and end up in a completely different bit. So you do really need to have a good grasp of the landmarks of the area. Also, you know, you need 2 brain cells to know where you have and have not looked, but I've got a memory like a sieve. Particularly when it comes to short-term memory. And, I mean, there are elements of long-term memory where I'm not great. So, for example, if you were to say, well, looking back at this footage and remembering exactly what I've done, yeah, no, I'm not going to stand a chance at telling you exactly what happened in like moment to moment, because that element of my long-term memory is appalling. But then there are other areas where my long-term memory is actually really good. So certain dates I can remember very, very well. Certain events in my life I can remember very, very well, even though they were a very long time ago. But then other things, just no. And then with the short-term memory, like, I have to really, really, really drill something into my head in order to get it to stick. So, basically think of Finding Nemo and Dory and P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. And the fact that she repeats that constantly throughout the film, and so that gets stuck in her head. So even though she has awful short-term memory, it sticks and she can remember it. That's effectively how I tend to get by with a lot of my short-term memory things. So whenever I had exams at school and at uni, mostly talking about English exams where you have to remember quotes and things, it was very much a case of, these are the quotes that I want, and I'm going to use, and I'm going to write them down and read them constantly and say them out loud to myself multiple times so that they will then stick, so then I can recall them at a moment's notice. The unfortunate thing about that method of learning is that unless it's a really important thing, that stuff tends to vanish very quickly after it has been used. So I can't remember most of the quotes that I remembered for my exams now. Which is fine because, I mean, really I'm not going to have any use for them anymore, but it is then quite nice to be able to rattle off quotes from works of literature that you've read, because that makes you look intelligent. Unfortunately, yeah, as you can tell, while I am smart, I could probably be a wee bit better at that sort of thing. And also, you know, I just made Mario jump right into a wall because I'm a crazy person. So, am I really all that smart, is the question. But yeah, like, there are certain phrases that I've remembered over the years. So, Geoffrey Chaucer, I think it's the Book of the Duchess, I think, where he says the Soleil Phoenix of Arabai, which I've always found to be quite a beautiful line of poetry to do with the Phoenix of Arabia, which I have brought up many, many times. You've also got Pandemonium rose like an exhalation from Paradise Lost, which, as I've said, inspired one of my dissertations. Shakespeare's always a good one. Always can quote a bit of Shakespeare, although it's only ever tiny bits. So, like, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. So there's that one. You also have... What is honour? A word. What is in that word, honour? Air. And so on and so forth. Love that speech from Henry IV, Part 1. And then you have the one in Henry IV Part 2, which is... I can't remember the start of it, but it's like, should I have 1,000 sons, the first humane principle I should teach them is to forswear thin potations and addict themselves to sack. I suppose they are maybe a bit more intelligent than I was giving myself credit for, because I have remembered a few. It's just sort of... You do have those people who can just quote poetry. I will always be actually quite envious of those people because, I mean, that's a skill. And I really do wish that I had that, but I do not. And therefore, I'm just going to have to deal with it. And so we've got, ooh, so 21 purple coins left to find. Delightful, they're going to be fun. But then it's also a case of trying to figure out where all of my bloomin' other moons are. I know there's one that we haven't been to, which requires us to do a little bit deep sea diving. That's quite fun. Oh yeah, I don't think we ever went into this pipe. You would have thought we would have done, considering how easy it is to spot. And this is a HD Rumble room if I've ever seen one. It's one of those rooms where you've got to feel with the Joy-Con where the power moon is, because they'll rumble ever so slightly when it's beneath your feet. You will also feel Goomba, well, these tiny Goombas under your feet, but either way, they're not too difficult to deal with, and we get the full kill anyway, so a rumble on the seaside floor is definitely mine. And yeah, just looking at all of this beautiful sunset just makes me really happy. And I'm going to get up there to the top. Really, I should go the way that I went the last time, because obviously I succeeded in getting up there very well. And I was very proud of that achievement. And I'm going a very back-asswards way to get back up here, and I don't know whether I'm going to quite succeed. Nope. So yeah, one of the quite funny things with the Gushins is that when you deplete them of their water source, they just become a little octopus that can't do anything, and you can sort of plop your way to the edge of water to sort yourself out, and it is both adorable and not a waste of time, but it sort of feels like it is worth it because, I mean, it just looks so cute and ridiculous because the Gushin is so ineffectual at that point that you're kind of just like, "Aw, I feel bad for you, and now I'm going to use you for my own gains." Mwahaha. And it's a good job I went up here, because otherwise I would have missed those purple coins. And I would have also missed that power moon, so definitely a good shout me coming here. Because obviously I spotted the delightful seedling that was, well, seed, I suppose, that was just sitting there, so now we've got to go run back with that. Which is a bit of a trek. Actually, those seashells. They're basically the urchin shells that you, or the shiny, spiny seashells that you see in Splatoon 2, well, not just Splatoon 2, mostly Splatoon actually. So I wonder whether that was where they got that model from actually. It would make sense. And would just be a nice subtle way of paying homage to one of Nintendo's newest successful franchises. I mean, there's certainly something that obviously people complained a lot about with Nintendo for many years, of saying, oh, Nintendo doesn't, like, only has like 3 IPs, Mario, Zelda and Pokemon. And while certainly a reasonable criticism that you would realise, they have been trying. And also this is a nifty way that you can quickly grow your flowers. Because if you water them, then they grow. So basically I'm just like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna get these now, rather than waiting for them to grow, because I'm just being really impatient. I mean, really, there is a gushing just there, so you might as well. And this is what happens when you blop with a gushing. It's just so adorable. That said, it is a wee bit difficult to get that particular moon, because obviously it's quite high up. Pretty much I think the way that I'm gonna get it is backflipping and diving and pulling off a very epic manoeuvre off of the back wall there. I think really what the game wants you to do is to use a gushing to get up that high, and then it wants you to get out of the capture and do it that way. But oh, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a fancy backflip, a cap throw, and a jump off the cap throw and diving into it. So you see, you can get quite a lot of height out of just a really regular manoeuvre, actually. You see, this is why you just have to get creative, because Mario does have such an amazing, well, such an amazing moveset that really you can do pretty much anything if you want to. So just give it a try. Try chaining all sorts of moves together, and you never know, it might just work for achieving what you need it to. And I remember this one. So this is a fun hidden little area, because you're using the gushings to get across bottomless pits, which is always fun. And it's pretty much okay up to the final section, which requires you to get across quite a large area on one gush, and it requires you to go at different levels and different heights. And let's just say it is easier said than done. Pretty much the go-to that I would say is that you do that. So you go straight for a bit and then you do a diagonal going up, and you should pretty much just about make it. Because I know that when I did it the first time, it took me so long to get that moon. That's actually the secret one. Because it's the one that's actually the most difficult to get. And yeah, I had such a nightmare trying to get that one, because I just couldn't figure out how to have enough water by the end of it. And ooh, oh, it's just normal coins, but hey, normal coins will do me. So yeah, it was just a case of figuring out that you could do that diagonal flying manoeuvre, and once I'd gotten that, it was only a matter of time before I got the moon. But I did need to figure that bit out first. That was the important bit for achieving that moon. And I think, well, my guess of what we're going to do is, well, obviously we've got another 9 or so? Might be a little bit more than 9. purple coins left. Might be 12 actually. We're probably going to get, I think, 7 more moons, if my calculations are correct. And one of them is down here. This very much reminds me of the eel teeth cleaning in Super Mario Sunshine, because that was very much also a case of diving down into an area like this. And that was the bit that housed 8 purple coins. 8 purple coins? 8 red coins. And you get the eels coming out of the ground, and what's annoying here is that you do not have Cappy. So you have to be quite careful. I mean, nice thing is that you can see where the morays are going to be before they pop out. You just need to actually be looking in their general direction in order to manage to pull it off. Because you've got the sort of shadow in the kind of base where they're going to be, and then you will be able to see them just surging up beneath you. Thankfully they can only reach so high, so you're not going to be completely buggered. But yeah, so there is our power moon. Actually, I think there is only one down here. Part of me is ever so slightly disappointed that that is the case, but then also part of me is, well, thank God, because I can't be dealing with those more rays for much longer. Even though I know that I missed a power moon that was in that tunnel area where we were going to get one of the story moons. I missed one there. Because it's very sneakily hidden. Like, you enter an area and it's pretty much behind you as you go into that bit. It's just like, guys, why must you make me suffer? And also I am going to... oh, so it is 12. Good, my maths was correct. But yeah, there's one moon... well, there's 3 purple coins that I am an idiot for missing, but then I know exactly how I missed them. And it's because I didn't clear up all the lava in that other story moon that we did, with the lava up on that platform over there. And that is going to screw me over slightly, because I'm going to spend a while looking for those, even though they're very, very, very clear when you know where they are. But I suppose that's the way with pretty much everything, isn't it? And typical that we have to hat it into there. I'd like to cheap and... oh! Oh, I do like this one. This one's fun. Because we get to use the uproot, there's lava everywhere, and yeah, it's a rising lava one, and it's just so fun, because you're kind of stretching and popping over these things. You just feel so awesome managing to pull this off. Particularly, you know, there, considering I wasn't touching anything for a split second. And you may look at this and think, oh, that was easy. Yeah, they throw a more challenging variant of this at you later, and let's just say it's not easy there. Oh, God.